Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Here, we embrace true femininity. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update.
It all started with a harmless bet between friends. I never thought it would end up changing my life completely. Growing up, I was always an adventurous and competitive person, always up for a challenge. My friends loved this side of me and would often come up with wild dares or bets to keep things interesting. Little did I know that one such bet would be the start of a life-changing journey. It was a Friday night, and we were all hanging out at our usual spot, the local bar. We were a group of 5 friends: Jake, Alex, Mason, Lily, and me, Ryan. We were all in our late 20s, living life to the fullest. It was Jake who came up with the bet that would change everything. We were all having a great time, sipping on cold beers and catching up on each other's lives. Suddenly, Jake brought up the topic of gender roles and how men are better at most things than women. I rolled my eyes at his macho attitude and challenged him by saying that being a woman is not an easy task, and he wouldn't last a day in a woman's shoes. "What are you talking about, Ryan? I can be a woman for a day and do it better than you," Jake retorted, never one to back down from a challenge. That's when the bet was born. Jake had to dress and act as a woman for a day, and if he succeeded, I had to do the same. We shook on it, and the bet was on. Little did I know that I would end up losing this silly bet and my entire life would change in the process. The day of the bet arrived, and we all met at Alex's place. Jake was all dressed up, wearing a short pink dress, high heels, and makeup. He looked ridiculous, but he played his part well, strutting around the room, twirling his hair, and batting his eyes at us. We were all having a great time, laughing and taking pictures. As the day went by, I started to realize that I might lose this bet. Jake was fully committed to his role and was doing a much better job than I thought he would. And then, it was my turn. I had to dress up as a woman and act like one for the rest of the day. I had never thought I would ever have to do this, but I had to honor the bet. With Lily's help, I put on a cute little floral dress and some heels. She did my makeup, and when I looked in the mirror, I couldn't believe it was me. I looked like a completely different person. I was nervous and uncomfortable, but I had to act confident. My friends said they wouldn't let me cheat, so I had to go all in. As soon as we stepped out of Alex's place, we were met with strange looks and catcalls. I felt so uncomfortable and vulnerable in my new avatar. Jake was loving it, though, relishing in my discomfort. We went to a nearby mall, and it was an eye-opening experience. I was no longer treated like a guy, and it was something I had never experienced before. I had to learn how to walk in heels and how to sit gracefully without flashing anyone. We went into a store, and I was shocked at how different it was. The sales assistant was much more attentive towards me, and Lily and Alex were getting irritated by all the attention that I was getting. We even went to the restroom, which was another awkward experience. I ended up making a fool of myself, trying to figure out how to use the stall and ended up with lipstick all over my face. As the day went by, I started to see things from a different perspective. Being a woman was not as easy as I had thought. The constant fear of being judged, the pressure to look presentable, and the expectations society had for women were weighing heavily on me. I couldn't wait to get out of the dress and heels and go back to being myself. But fate had other plans for me. As we were walking back to Alex's place, I stumbled on my heels and fell, twisting my ankle. I screamed in pain as Jake and Alex helped me up. When we reached Alex's place, my ankle had swollen up, and I couldn't walk. "I think we need to take him to the hospital," Lily said, pointing at my ankle. But Jake had another idea. He had been enjoying the day so much that he suggested we visit a fortune teller he knew. "Maybe she can tell us how long Ryan will have to suffer as a woman," he joked, unaware that his joke would be taken seriously. We made our way to the fortune teller, and she looked at me with a knowing look. She predicted that I would have to live as a woman until the next full moon. We all laughed at how absurd it sounded, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was not right. Days went by, and I was still stuck in my female avatar. My friends thought it was hilarious and kept calling me Ryan. But as the days turned into weeks, I started to realize that maybe the fortune teller was not a fake, after all. My physical appearance had transformed into that of a woman, and my voice had also changed. I started to panic and went to see a doctor, but all my tests came back normal. As the date of the next full moon approached, I found myself panicking even more. I didn't want to be a woman for the rest of my life. But my friends were having the time of their lives, taking pictures and documenting every moment. I started to drift away from them, not being able to handle the situation. My transformation was becoming more and more evident, and strangers were starting to treat me like a woman. I was constantly catcalled, and I felt helpless. I even had to quit my job because I couldn't face my colleagues and explain what was happening to me. I was at a loss, not knowing what to do. On the night of the full moon, I locked myself in my room, scared of what would happen to me. As the moon shone brightly, I could feel a strange energy pulsating through my body. And then, it started. My body writhed in pain as my bones shifted and my muscles contracted. I was screaming, not able to comprehend what was happening to me. A few hours later, I woke up, and everything was different. I was no longer Ryan, but Ryan. My body had completely changed, and I was now a woman. I couldn't believe it. I had lost a silly bet, and now I was stuck in a body that wasn't mine. The next few days were a blur as I tried to come to terms with my new reality. My friends tried to help, but they couldn't understand what I was going through. I felt like I had lost my identity, and I didn't know how to live as a woman. I even tried to reverse the bet, but the fortune teller was nowhere to be found. As the days turned into weeks, I started to accept the fact that I would have to live as a woman for the rest of my life. I started to embrace my new body and identity, and surprisingly, I found myself enjoying it. I started to understand the struggles that women go through, and I became more empathetic towards them. I also realized that my friends were true friends. They supported me through this difficult time, and we became even closer. Jake, who had started it all, apologized for his insensitive bet and promised to be more understanding and respectful towards women. It's been 3 years since I lost the bet, and I am now a successful businesswoman. I have finally found my place in this world as Ryan, and I wouldn't change a thing. Losing a bet may have been the start of my journey, but it was the catalyst for a new life filled with love, acceptance, and growth. I may have lost a bet, but I gained so much more: a new perspective, true friends, and most importantly, a new identity.